Get ready for a whiteout in Happy Valley. Question is, can the Iowa Hawkeyes go there and upset over 100,000 fans? They might be able to. Lockdown Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I am Craig Sheeman. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we're brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. We are going to talk Iowa and Penn State. Huge game Saturday night. Plus the rest of the slate for the rest of the Big Ten and our Pigskin picks. Always like to end the week that way with a little of my expertise. Be sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you'll get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every week. Well, we know that Ohio State is playing in South Bend, taking on Notre Dame on NBC. Now, about 482 miles to the east and down the dial on CBS, about 110,000 fans. Going to be dressed in white. Going to be watching the Iowa Hawkeyes take on the Penn State Nittany Lions, and it is the annual whiteout game at Beaver Stadium. It is one of the greatest sights in college football. Beaver Stadium, under the lights, the whiteout, one of the greatest home field advantages in all of sports. And that is what is going to be taking place on Saturday night. So the Iowa Hawkeyes are the lucky ones. They get to come in. They're on the schedule this year for this whiteout. Now, the question is, can Iowa win this game? This is going to be a tough one for Iowa to win. This is probably a dub for Penn State. But let's look into it, and let's see if we can find some reasons perhaps for Iowa to end up winning this football game out there. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll decide together here in just a minute. Look, if you are familiar with this podcast, you know, and if you're brand new, welcome aboard. You know that the theme here when we talk about Iowa is that they needed this year with Cade McNamara just to raise the offense to the level of mediocrity, just average. Just don't be horrible. And then you can ride the defense on to victories. All right. It's been working. They're 3-0 this year. And they actually scored 41 points last week against Western Michigan. You know, it used to take them 3 or 4 games to score 41 points. So that's kind of a big deal that they were able to break through and do that. But there's been a little bit of a problem. Quarterback Cade McNamara, the Michigan transfer, he was supposed to come in and fix everything and upgrade quarterback play a little bit. But he's been hurt. He's not been healthy. He missed most of the spring because he had off-season knee surgery, right? And then the summer came and summer camp, and he fell awkwardly and hurt his quad. So, I mean, he missed all these snaps. He's the new guy. He missed the snaps with the offense in the spring. He missed almost everything in the summertime. Now, he hasn't missed any games this year, but there have been times where it looks like he has been bothered tremendously. Kirk Ferentz says, look, this is going to be a situation we're going to just have to manage and take care of throughout and nurse it a little bit throughout the season. Plus, there have been some questions. I've watched all the Iowa games this year, and the question is whether McNamara can actually utilize the entire playbook. He doesn't do quarterback sneaks, can't really push off with that quad, doesn't really roll out very much, and really there hasn't been much of any of that so far this season. And the defense knows it because the film doesn't lie. Other teams know that a portion of that playbook, they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to defend it. It's not going to happen. So that's an advantage for the opponents against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Last week, in a game where Iowa scored 41 points, Cade McNamara only threw for 103. It was less than, and he had 2 interceptions as well. So, and he's still missing targets downfield. They're leaving points on the field. Thank goodness for Iowa fans, and you know this if you watch their games, Leshone Williams at running back has kind of been the saving grace on offense. Good, hard runner. Last week, Rushed for 145 yards on 12 carries. He's a hard, aggressive runner. He's a go-to guy that they can really rely on. And if Penn State has a weakness, it might be stopping the run. There have been some times that some opponents were able to get some yardage on the ground against them. Maybe this is an advantage. Maybe this is an open door for Iowa to take advantage of in this game. Now, bad news for Iowa. They're everything future NFL tight end Luke Leshone underwent surgery this week. He did indeed injure himself in that game last weekend. I saw it on TV. It looked bad. It was one of those bad things. They didn't say much the first couple of days of the week, and then all of a sudden, yeah, he had surgery. He's out. They will need Michigan transfer Eric All to step up. Tight end, right? He's been AWOL this year. He only had one catch last week. And I'm a little surprised. I thought him coming in with McNamara, they were former teammates at Michigan coming in. I thought there'd be more chemistry there. And it hasn't been there yet. They really need it now moving forward. Defensively, the Hawkeyes are solid. Absolutely solid. This is a good defense. They play fundamentally well. They tackle well. They do all that stuff. And if you've not seen an Iowa football game yet, defensive back Cooper Dejean, this guy is a human highlight film. He's unbelievable. A nose for the ball, returns kicks as well. He's a fun guy to watch. He is fun. Plus, this is a disciplined team under Kirk Ferentz. They don't beat themselves. They lead the nation with the fewest penalties. So they don't get stupid penalties. They don't kill drives. You know, they do their best on defense to try and get off the field in 3 downs. They don't make a lot of mistakes. So they're fundamentally sound, and they play hard. I don't know if they have the playmakers they need, but they play hard. They're not going to beat themselves. So let's take a look at Penn State here for a moment and get an idea where we think that this team is going for this game. First of all, Drew Allar looked great at home in the first 2 games of the season. Those were his first 2 starts of his career. He looked, let's admit it, he looked less than awesome at last week's road win at Illinois. Only completed 16 of 33 passes for 208 yards and no touchdowns. He looked very human, very, very average. Bad news for Iowa is Allar is playing in front of the home crowd at home where he can, and he can always hand it off to guys like Kaytron Allen and Nick Singleton, who are in the conversation as the best running back duo in the country, along with Michigan and Ohio State and Wisconsin. Look, if you're in the Big Ten, you better have 2 good running backs, not one. That's just the way it is, right? And Allar also gets to play behind a great offensive line and the best left tackle in football, and Olumu Yawefashanu. He's going to be an early first-round pick in the NFL. He's a wall. He's 6'6", 317 pounds. So he's got that going for him. The Penn State defense, they are loaded. They are loaded, and they're deep. They've got future NFLers at all levels, too. You're going to see guys like Chop Robinson up front. You see Curtis Jacobs, Kalen King, as one of the corners. He's going to be in the NFL. This is a good team, good defensive players, and they're going to do everything they can to stop the Iowa Hawkeye offense. And this could be a little of a grinder of a game. It really could be one of these trenches games. But the bottom line is, Penn State could put together a couple of long time consuming scoring drives early and get a little bit of a lead. And Iowa really doesn't have the playmakers, as we mentioned earlier, to come from behind and just start throwing points up. So again, if Penn State gets in, if they do a couple long drives, now you're shortening the game, shortening the opportunities for Iowa. I kind of think that's how this game is going to go. So, and Penn State, I told you Iowa doesn't have penalties. Penn State, they don't turn the ball over. In fact, they have none. No turnovers this year. So they're really good at that. And being at home, I think Iowa will give them a very respectable game. I think this will be a good football game, hard-fought game. But Penn State keeps the home crowd happy in Happy Valley and gets the W on the whiteout night on Saturday night. You agree with me or disagree with me? Love to hear from you on Twitter at TalkBig10. That's the number 10. Also, you can hit me up on YouTube with comments. I get a lot of comments throughout the week on that. So we'll take care of that. There are other games in the Big Ten. We will cover them. We'll look at all of those. And also, we will have our Pigskin picks. It's all coming up right here on Locked On Big Ten. So these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You know, when you build your business and you build your office and you get your people together, it's like putting a team together. You got to get the right people, the right players. They all got to fit together and work well. So you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. And that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. So you post your job with them. Then you got the purple hashtag hiring frame and add that to your LinkedIn profile. That helps spread the word to everybody that you're out there hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and eventually hire, because that is the name of the game, right? So it's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number one in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So here's what you need to do. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And I'd like to tell you about DoorDash. You know, have you ever made yourself a hot cup of coffee first thing in the morning? You go to the refrigerator and your favorite flavored creamer is like gone. I don't know, maybe your spouse used up the last of it. Well, problem solved with DoorDash, right? They could take care of you here. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, I got a bunch of stores all over wherever I live here, and plenty to choose from. And you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or we'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them yourself. You want even more value? Here's the deal. You can save on all your grocery and restaurant favorites with a $0 delivery fee on all eligible orders with a Dash Pass membership. With easy substitutions right in the app and best-in-class customer support as well, DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want it. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONCollege at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and $0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code LOCKEDONCollege. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. All right, so we got some more games to talk about here. Let's do it. We spent a lot of time chopping up Iowa and Penn State. And yesterday's podcast of Locked On Big Ten, we featured Ohio State and Notre Dame. And if you have not caught that yet, feel free to go back and check it out. If you have any kind of list, it's the one right before this one. Love you to look at that as well. Get yourself ready for the weekend. Ohio State, Notre Dame with yesterday's podcast, today's podcast with Iowa and Penn State. Check it out. And feel free to share it with your friends. We always like to spread the word. But it's going to be a huge night for college football. So those are the biggest games. And by the way, after those two games are over, again, the Notre Dame game against Ohio State and the Iowa-Penn State whiteout game, Locked On Big Ten, we're going to go live. We're going to go live. We've been doing this the past couple of Saturdays. So I would say this is probably going to be around 11 o'clock Saturday night. If you're sitting there on the couch, on your phone, dial us up. I'm going to go live. Love to hear from you and your comments as well. About 11 o'clock, doing a live Saturday night. That's about 11 o'clock Eastern, Locked On Big Ten podcast. It's kind of quick, immediate reaction to all the games throughout the day. So we look forward to seeing you out there as well. So Big Ten teams in action this weekend, other than those two big games we've been talking about. Tonight, Friday night, Wisconsin Badgers coming off a hard-fought win versus Georgia Southern. They travel to 100-year-old Ross-Ade Stadium to take on the Purdue Boilermakers. That's on FS1. The last time the Badgers were on the road, though, they lost to Washington State. And meanwhile, Ryan Walters' Boilermakers have yet to win at home. They've been giving up some points, too. We'll have that and all the other games on our Pigskin Picks in a minute as well. So hang tight for that. At noon on Sunday on the Big Ten Network, 3-0 Rutgers. They go to Ann Arbor to take on 3-0 Michigan. That is Jim Harbaugh's return to the sidelines for the first time following his 3-game suspension. By the way, a pundit, I'll tell you who when we do our Pigskin Picks. A pretty well-known football pundit picked Rutgers to win that game over Michigan. I'll tell you who that was in case you missed it. Florida Atlantic comes to Champaign to take on the Fighting Illini at 3:30. Brett Bielema's crew, they need a win, man. They need to win. They're sitting at 1-2. Maryland is at Michigan State for a 3:30 tilt on NBC, and surely the Mel Tucker firing will get some run on the broadcast. You know the story. Michigan State finally served him his papers, his termination papers this week, and he has until, I believe, Monday to respond. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll just fire him. Regarding Maryland, it's fine. Not to name drop, but I was talking with Sean Merriman earlier today. Lights out. Remember the former Charger and Maryland Terp? And I was joking with him. I said, man, your Terps, they fall down 14-0 in all their games. They have the 2 previous games, and then they just take off. I just blow people out in the second half. He says, yeah, man, it's too nerve-wracking. I can't watch the first half. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. Again, not to name drop. Louisiana Tech travels to a sold-out Memorial Stadium to take on a Nebraska team that'll be trying to reach 500 after 4 games. Keep an eye on that quarterback situation at Nebraska. Why do I say that? Well, when Jeff Sims is healthy, if Heinrich Haarberg continues to play well, I think there is going to be a situation to keep. And Matt Rule will have some decisions to make. I still think he's favoring Jeff Sims. We'll see how it plays out. Taven Jackson looks to continue his rapid improvement for the Indiana Hoosiers as their starting quarterback, and they host Akron in a battle of 1-2 teams under the lights in Bloomington at Memorial Stadium. That's at 7:30. And finally, Minnesota, coming off of its disappointing loss at North Carolina against the Tar Heels, they travel to Northwestern as the Wildcats try to bounce back from their loss to Duke last week. This game is also under the lights at 7:30. Want to take a moment here to thank you guys for making Locked On Big Ten, first of all, so popular and growing and quickly growing. That's because of you guys. And I want to thank you for listening every day, you everydayers out there. Side note, since it is college football season, there's another program that you can catch on this channel, Locked On Big Ten and all of the Locked On College channels. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., it is the Locked On College Football Kickoff Live Show. And I'll be on it for a few moments, previewing Big Ten stuff as well. So look for us there. And if you missed the live broadcast, it's still there on the channel, taped, ready for you to play at your leisure. But nonetheless, I want you to check that out as well. Plus, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. If you haven't already, click subscribe down below. It's free. It's simple. And then it gets you in our club here. You're good to go. You can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. If you can do that, I personally would really, really appreciate that. Okay. Coming up, we've got our weekly feature, of course, where we pick them. It's our Pigskin Picks, one of my favorite segments of the week. Hang tight, Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, have you gotten on board yet? Well, you can get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I just signed up myself. It's pretty good. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props. I like the over-unders. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer that you don't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So it is time for Pigskin Picks. And we had a pretty good start so far this season. I'm going to put this on screen for those of you watching on video. For those listening on audio, we'll describe it in detail for you here. And we'll go full screen like that. And we'll take this off. There we go. So last week, now, again, if you're new to this, I just go money line for this particular podcast. I just pick winners and losers. I don't get too tied up into point spreads and over-unders. We'll talk about them. I'll give you my advice on them if you want to go do them. If you want to go jump on FanDuel, But just to keep it simple, we just pick winners and losers. So the numbers are a little bit inflated. We have some easy pre-conference games. Last week I went 11-2. Again, just wins and losses. 33-6 overall. So let's put some games on the board and let's see what we think. We'll start it off with Wisconsin at Purdue. This is a Friday night game. I think this is one of the hardest games to pick, to be honest with you. Gone back and forth on this time and time again. Here's what I think. I think Wisconsin is going to win the game, so I'll pick Wisconsin, but I don't think they cover the 5.5. So give me Purdue there. I think this is a closer. I think this is a 3-point game, last second game, one of those kind of deals, but Wisconsin wins. And I do like the over on this one. Purdue has had 2 of their 3 games. I think they've given up over 30 points. So take the over at 54 on this one. Rutgers at Michigan. Michigan is a 24.5-point favorite. I think this number is right on the money. Michigan is not covered yet this year. They win big, but they don't win big enough if you like those point spreads. I told you football pundit picked Rutgers to win this game outright this week. It was the Big Ten Network's Dave Wannstedt. Dave Wannstedt really likes Greg Schiano's team, and he is picking them to upset Michigan tomorrow. I would not go that far, although I do respect Rutgers. But give me Michigan to win. I don't think they cover, but they're right there on the number. Like, I would lay off this one. I think it's going to be like a 35-10. That would be a cover barely, but right there. And same thing with the over under. So I'm going to shy away from those numbers and just pick Michigan to win the game here. Meanwhile, we've got Illinois at home against Florida International and Florida Atlantic. I'm sorry. And they need this win. Illinois is a 16-point favorite. I think they get it together a little bit here. I think they cover the 16, and I take the over at 45.5. So give me the Fighting Illini bounce back game. Maryland is at Michigan State. Maryland is a 7.5-point favorite. Over-unders at 53. I think Maryland wins and covers. I still think Michigan State is in a mess with the Mel Tucker situation. Maryland has been blowing people out. They start out slow, though. Maryland, I told you just earlier, the last 2 games, they've fallen down 14-0. Then they wake up and then they go, and then they really pour it on. So I think Maryland will win. They will cover. Give me the over on this. Maryland can put some points on the board. The over under at 53. Nebraska is at home against Louisiana Tech. Nebraska, a 20.5-point favorite. Yeah, I think Nebraska wins this game by 3 touchdowns. So I think they cover. And give me, I don't know about the over under. I'll take the over. 46.5 on this. By the way, point spreads, I was 8-6. Over unders, I was 7-6 last year. But that's why we just tell you what I did on the money line at 11-2. All right. This is supposed to be fun. Let's go to Ohio State and Notre Dame. Saturday night under the lights, national TV. Ohio State is a 3-point favorite in this one. The over under at 55.5. All right. Buckeye fans, don't get mad at me. I think the wrong team is favored here. It's no disrespect, okay? I think these are both good teams. I hopefully, Locked On Big Ten hopes that Ohio State wins. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game. Being at home, their quarterback, I think they're going to win. I take the over 55.5. If I'm wrong, I'll hear about it from you guys. So be it. Penn State, Iowa. Again, I told you earlier, I think Iowa's very, very hardy and gives them an effort here, but Penn State is going to win this game, and I think late they'll get over the number at 14.5. And I also take the over under at 4. I take the over at 40 points. Indiana is at home against Akron, 17-point favorites. I think the Hoosiers win. I think the cover, and I would take the over on 46. I think it's going to be a lot of points in this football game. And finally, we've got Minnesota at Northwestern. Minnesota bouncing back from the loss to North Carolina. I think they are a much better team than Northwestern, and I think Minnesota wins and covers the 12. I take the over on. Let me think about that for a second. It's a low number, slightly over. How about that? Over 39. So there you have it. Those are our picks for the weekend, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's great that you guys are joining us here. I want to thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Every day, as our next show is live Saturday around 11 o'clock. Again, if you didn't miss it, I said it earlier. The last couple of Saturdays, I've been going on live on the podcast on Locked On Big Ten. So we're going to do a little later than we've done. I think it's been around 9:30 in the past. I think we're going to around 11 o'clock. I'm anticipating the game at Penn State and the game at Notre Dame to be over. And then we're going to jump on, give immediate reaction to all of that. And then we'll be back on Monday, of course, with our regular schedule and just recap everything that happened during week 4 around the Big Ten. Many ways for you to interact with me. Of course, you can hit me up on Twitter at any time at Talk Big Ten. And there it is right there, at Talk Big Ten, number 10. And our website, as you see the crawl on the bottom, it's new, talkbig10.com. That's, again, with the number 10, talkbig10.com. And check us out on the website. Everything funnels back to there. And also here on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day. You don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. I love doing it. Check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast for the latest on everything going on in sports, and have yourself a great day. Enjoy all these games throughout the weekend, and thank you for checking us out right here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman.